Hello guys, myself Dr. P.K. Verma. All the students of biology and my colleague teachers are most welcome in this biology class. As introduction of biology, I have started from the very beginning with the biological classification. Biological classification began with Linnaeus, and in the textbooks it ended with Wood, and therefore the title has been used as Linnaeus to Wood. Classification is indefinite process, endless process, and a dynamic process. It will never end up. Many changes will occur with time, but at present we are confined to the classification introduced up to now. So the biological nomenclature is the topic of discussion today. You all are aware that more than 1.5 million, probably 1.75 million living organisms are present on Earth, out of which 1.25 million comprise animals only, and the remaining 0.5 million are microorganisms and the plants. The members of phylum Arthropoda alone comprises 1.05 million species, that is about 57% of the total species on Earth. So there are different branches in biology to discuss the larger categories, larger groups like Arthropoda, Insecta, fisheries, mollusks. Since 1600 CE, at least 1140 plants and animal species have become extinct, and about 31,500 species are either threatened or endangered. This massive loss of biodiversity has affected the nature greatly. It is needed to conserve them as far as possible. Human welfare depends solely on the welfare and protection of nature and its wildlife, and we always need various supports from the natural resources for our food, fuel, timber, fibers, medicines, and other commodities. So we must understand importance of every organism in nature. Because of the large number of organisms, it is almost impossible to see all of them, to study them individually. However, if the organisms are classified into a number of groups on the basis of their similarities and dissimilarities of characters, it would be very easy to take a typical sample of each category and study them properly and thoroughly. So making category is most essential before a study of the organisms. The science of classification of organisms into various groups or taxa is called taxonomy. Now, it was Carolinus Linnaeus. The full name is also Carl von Linné, who lived from 1707 to 1777, was the first person to introduce this science of taxonomy. He was a Swedish scientist, and we honor him as father of taxonomy because of his contribution in introducing some principle for classification of the organisms. Now the science of classification of organism needs many powerful characters in which variations must be in uniform pattern, and those characters are known as taxonomical characters or the key characters of taxonomy. Carolinus Linnaeus presented the standard method of classification of plants and animals in his famous book Systema Naturae. It was published in 1735. He presented the idea of classification in different categories that we now call taxonomical hierarchy. He described classification of about 7,300 plant species in his book Species Plantarum, published in 1753. According to Ernst Mayr, his book is called Principle of Taxonomy. All the organisms have a definite interrelationship in terms of their evolution. That is, evolution forms so many branches in the evolution of any organism. There is formation of evolutionary tree. So if someone understands that pattern of evolution, the interrelationship among the species can be established very easily. He said that the nature already has classified them in the course of evolution, so their positions are well fixed. We just have to study and describe the characters thoroughly, find their interrelationship, arrange them in order, and decode the actual position of their in the course of evolution. Every organism has a definite position. In view of this, in place of using the term classification that may be artificial and sometimes faulty, the term systematic position is written, and in place of taxonomy, systematics is used. When their evolutionary interrelationship also is discussed, such classification is known as phylogenetic classification. A true classification needs a study of all the aspects of organisms, morphology, anatomy, embryology, physiology, reproductive behaviors, adaptive variations, etc. Linnaeus suggested formation of some important categories or the groups for the classification. These are arranged in the order of larger to a smaller level, that is descending level, that is known as taxonomical hierarchy. There are 7 major taxonomical categories in descending order. The topmost is kingdom and it is largest. The kingdom is divided into a number of phyla and the phylum is divided into a number of classes. The classes are divided into orders and the orders are divided into family. Finally, the family is divided into a number of genera and in a genus a number of species are there. So the species is the lowest unit of classification and kingdom is the highest level of classification. These are the standard 7 categories of classification. However, these categories are not always fixed. When the group is very large with great variation, some more categories such as subclass, infraclass, suborder, subfamily, etc. also can be used. With evolution, a species can split into 2 or more subspecies and the subspecies can acquire a status of a species. So the original species takes a status of genus and original genus is promoted to the rank of order and so on. Therefore, it is said that taxonomy is not static. While describing at the species level and subspecies level, we have to study DNA, protein and isoenzymes also. Therefore, now a new term, molecular taxonomy, is used. It can easily differentiate between ecotypes, varieties, races and clans. Now we have to note down the kingdoms are at highest level, largest groups and therefore possess highest level of diversity and variation in characters. The species is the unit of classification, lowest level it is, with uniformity of characters except the differences in varieties, races and ecotype. In this view, the entire human being of every race, every clan is one species, Homo sapiens sapiens. Now, what are the kingdoms? Classification has changed time to time. At first, when Linnaeus classified living organisms, he made only 2 kingdoms. One was Plantae and another was Animalia. Later on, Haeckel came and made a new kingdom, Protista, in which all unicellular organisms, whether it is plant-like or animal-like, were put together. In due course, Copeland came. He divided Protista into two parts. One is Monera, another is Protista. Monera belongs to prokaryote nature and the Protista belongs to eukaryote nature. Later on, Whittaker separated fungi from the plant kingdom, and Wood divided bacteria, Monera into eubacteria and archaebacteria. In most of the syllabus, only 5 kingdoms have been used, and students are taught about only these 5 kingdoms proposed by Whittaker in 1969. But every textbook writes about the proposal of Wood, although eubacteria and archaebacteria are still under Monera. Now, what were the basis of classification at the kingdom level by these scientists? Linnaeus in 1772 used one character, cell wall. When the cell wall was present, it was included in plant kingdom, but when cell wall was absent, it was included in animal kingdom. Haeckel in 1894 made Protista kingdom, and all unicellular organisms, plant-like or animal-like, including bacteria, were placed together. So only the multicellular organisms with cell wall were called plant, and the multicellular organisms without cell wall were considered as animal. Copeland separated prokaryotes as Monera and eukaryotes, unicellular organisms, as Protista. So the original kingdom Protista divided into Monera and Protista. Multicellular with cell wall, plant kingdom. Multicellular without cell wall, animal kingdom. When Whittaker came in 1969, he divided plant kingdom into two parts. He made fungi a separate kingdom. The unicellular or multicellular organisms with cell walls made of chitin, that is also known as fungal cellulose, and the cells without plastids were called fungi. So now the plant kingdom is multicellular with cellulosic cell wall and plastids in their cells. There are many types of plastids, but the students are more familiar with chloroplast. So you can say that plants are multicellular organisms. They have cell wall made of cellulose and they have chloroplast or any other plastid in their cell. Animals are as such multicellular, without cell wall and without plastid. Now Wood just divided Monera into two parts, eubacteria and archaebacteria, and all other kingdoms remained as such. Wood also suggested formation of three domains. or the super kingdoms. These are bacteria or eubacteria, archaea, that is archaebacteria, and the eukarya, that is the eukaryotes, comprising fungi, plants and animals. Now, see this photograph. It is a common vegetable of this particular rainy season. What do you name it? In my city, this particular vegetable, a member of Cucurbitaceae family, is variously known as घिउरा, घिया, नेनुआ, झींगा, तोरई, parole, etc. In other languages, it may have hundreds of names all over the world. So it is very difficult if a person describes one plant or an animal with his local name. It is difficult to know by the people of other states and other nations what the organism is. They cannot use dictionary of entire world language. And therefore Linnaeus suggested to form a uniform criteria of naming the biological organisms. In European language, this plant is called a spongy gourd, Egyptian cucumber, or Vietnamese lupha. Biological classification has named it as Lupha aegyptiaca. So this name Lupha aegyptiaca will be universally used in all biological discussions rather than the local name Jhinga, Ghiura, Nenua, or the sponge gourd or Egyptian cucumber, etc. So just by taking one example, you have understood why there is a need of a standard nomenclature that is known as biological nomenclature and binomial nomenclature by Linnaeus. Linnaeus suggested to use a standard system of naming of every species that may be used throughout the world by biologists. He used two words. The first name is generic and second name is specific. So the name of genus and name of species are used as the full name of an organism, a plant or animal. The International Code of Botanical Nomenclature, ICBN, has made certain rules for nomenclature. Some of them which relates binomial nomenclature are as follows. In biological nomenclature, two words should be used. The first word is generic name and the second word is a specific name. So, because of the two words, it is called binomial nomenclature. The first letter of genus must be written in capital, but the species name is written in a small letter. While naming a genus or a species, any word with any meaning can be used as liked by the author. It may be name of a god, a mountain, a river, a country, or a scientist. For example, If you say amoeba proteus, Proteus is the name of a Greek god. When you say Ursus himalayensis, Himalaya is the name of a great mountain. When you say Platanista gangetica, Ganges is a river. Azadirachta indica, India is a country. Or Leishmania donovani, genus and species, both names belong to the name of its discoverer scientist Leishman and Donovan. The name of genus and species are always spelled in Greek or Latin style, such as Lamarckiana, Himalayensis, Indica, Gangetica, Americana, etc. The full name, genus and species is always printed in italics, such as Labiorohita. The letters are slightly bent rightwards, that is italic. But when you print it manually, there is no method to make it italic, or when it is handwritten, in those cases, the name should be underlined. Sometimes more than two words are used. The third word denotes name of variety or cultivar, subspecies or race. For example, when you say Mangifera indica, which mango? There are so many varieties. It may be Malda, Fajli, Jardalu, Dashari, Alfonso, any variety. So for discussion of biological property, the name should be written as Mangifera indica, variety Malda, Lychee chinensis, cultivar Bedana, and like so on. Sometimes name of author and the year of publication of the report is written in bracket. For example, the name Channa punctatus was given by Bloch in 1793, or Ophiucephalus indicus McClelland 1842. There are many occasions when the same species is reported in different region, different country by two different scientists, who should be given honor. In that case, the year of publication is used as law of priority, as the basis of law of priority. So, that scientist who reported earlier is honored, and therefore name of the scientist along with the year of publication is written. Now take some examples. These are the common plants: mango, Mangifera indica; lychee, it is Lychee chinensis; jackfruit, Artocarpus heterophyllus; apple, Malus domestica; pomegranate, Punica granatum; guava, Psidium guajava; tomato, Solanum lycopersicum; potato, Solanum tuberosum. These two species have same genus. Brinjal, Solanum melongena, same genus. And chili or red pepper, Capsicum annuum. In animals also, there are many common examples. For example, man, it is Homo sapiens. Now we belong to a subspecies. The same name sapiens is used. So now the present day humans are Homo sapiens sapiens. Gangetic dolphin, Platanista gangetica. Cat is Felis domesticus. Tiger, Felis tigris. Dog, Canis familiaris. Lion, Panthera leo. Cow is Bos primigenius. And buffalo is Bubelus bubalis. Cheetal is Axis axis. And musk deer is Moschus cupreus. There are many other common animals, each with a specific biological name. Now sometimes you will find that name of genus and species both is same. In that case, when genus and species have same name, it is called tautonym. For example, black-billed or Eurasian magpie is called pica pica, and red-footed booby is sula sula. Common striped skunk, Mephitis mephitis. European grass snake is Natrix natrix, and Eurasian eagle owl is Bubo bubo. Similarly, the ocean sunfish is Mola mola, Eurasian otter is Lutra lutra, American bison is Bison bison, Western gorilla is Gorilla gorilla, Cheetal is Axis axis, and a carp fish common to India is Katla katla. The red jungle owl is Gallus gallus. In this way, there are hundreds of examples in which the genus and species has same name. So these are the tautonyms. You can remember some of the names of plants and animals which are common in your vicinity. See, the name Indian cobra is Naja naja, and common toad is Bufo bufo. Suriname toad is Paipa paipa. In this way, you can now understand why a biological classification is needed, why a standard nomenclature is needed, and what are the 5 major kingdoms of the animals and plants as well as microorganisms. In the next sessions, we shall study every kingdom separately.